Lee Marvin was born on February 19, 1924, in New York City, into a family that appeared stable on the surface but carried its own quiet tensions. His father worked in advertising, his mother came from a respected Southern lineage, yet Marvin's childhood was marked by restlessness rather than privilege. He struggled with structure, discipline, and authority, leading to repeated expulsions from school. That early rebellion wasn't rooted in cruelty, but in an inability to fit into neatly defined expectations. Long before he stepped in front of a camera, Marvin was learning how it felt to be on the outside, misunderstood, and searching for purpose. Those formative years instilled in him a raw independence and emotional toughness that would later become inseparable from his screen presence. His defiance wasn't manufactured, it was lived. Even as a young man, Marvin carried the posture of someone shaped by conflict, quietly preparing him for the harsher trials that were yet to come. Martyrdom, damage or war, wounds, and the making of real grit. World War II became the defining turning point of Lee Marvin's life. Enlisting in the U.S. Marine Corps, he was sent to the Pacific Theater, where he experienced the brutal reality of combat firsthand. During the Battle of Saipan, Marvin was severely wounded by machine gun fire, an injury that nearly ended his life and permanently altered his body. He was awarded the Purple Heart, but the deeper impact of the war was psychological. Witnessing death, chaos, and survival stripped away any illusion he had about heroism or glory. When Marvin later portrayed soldiers, outlaws, or hardened men on screen, there was an unmistakable authenticity behind his eyes. He wasn't acting toughness. He understood fear and endurance at a visceral level. The war left scars that never fully healed, but it also gave Marvin something invaluable, an unshakable sense of truth that became the foundation of his entire acting career. From ordinary jobs to an unlikely calling. After returning from the war, Marvin drifted for a time, unsure where his future lay. Like many veterans, he struggled to re-enter civilian life and took on ordinary work, including a job as a plumber's assistant. Acting was not part of any grand plan. It emerged almost accidentally when he discovered theater in upstate New York. What began as curiosity quickly turned into purpose. Marvin's deep voice, commanding physicality, and emotional restraint made him stand out immediately. He didn't rely on polish or charm. His strength was honesty. Small theater roles led to television appearances, and by the early 1950s, he was finding steady work in film. Though often cast as villains or hardened side characters, Marvin treated every role with seriousness. Directors noticed his commitment, and audiences sensed something real behind his performances. He was building a career slowly, grounded in experience rather than ambition, and that patience would pay off. Breaking through without losing himself. Lee Marvin's breakthrough came not from flashy leading roles, but from unforgettable supporting performances. Films like The Big Heat and Bad Day at Black Rock showcased his ability to command attention with minimal dialogue. His presence felt dangerous, unpredictable, yet deeply human. The turning point arrived with Cat Ballou in 1965, where Marvin surprised audiences by playing dual roles that blended comedy with grit. The performance earned him an Academy Award and proved he was far more versatile than his tough guy image suggested. Unlike many actors who reinvent themselves for success, Marvin expanded without abandoning who he was. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, he starred in iconic films such as The Dirty Dozen and Point Blank, redefining American masculinity on screen. His characters weren't perfect heroes, they were flawed survivors. That honesty resonated deeply with audiences and secured his place as a Hollywood original. Yes. Fame, privacy, and a life lived honestly. Off-screen, Lee Marvin was known for his directness and refusal to play Hollywood's social games. He disliked pretense and had little patience for artificial charm. While his lifestyle was sometimes intense, those close to him often described a thoughtful, intelligent man with a sharp sense of humor. Marvin valued loyalty and honesty above image, and he was deeply uncomfortable with celebrity culture. Fame, to him, was a byproduct of work, not a goal. He preferred quiet moments, personal reflection, and meaningful conversations over public spectacle. This tension between public success and private withdrawal defined much of his later life. Marvin never claimed to be easy, but he was consistent. What audiences saw on screen aligned closely with who he was in real life, a man shaped by hardship, guided by experience, and uninterested in pretending to be anything else. That authenticity became his lasting legacy. Love, marriage, and the weight of stability. Marvin's personal life reflected the same complexity as his career. His first marriage to Betty Ebling began before fame and endured through years of uncertainty. Together, they raised 4 children, and Betty provided stability during Marvin's early struggles. As his career grew, so did the pressures of time apart and professional demands, eventually leading to their divorce in 1967. In 1970, Marvin married Pamela Feely, a relationship that marked a calmer chapter in his life. Pamela brought balance and quiet strength, offering support during both professional triumphs and personal challenges. Though their life together was not without strain, their bond endured. Pamela remained by Marvin's side through public scrutiny and declining health, providing a sense of peace he had rarely known. In later years, Marvin often acknowledged that her presence helped him slow down and reflect, offering companionship rooted in mutual respect rather than illusion. Nor fighting Lee Marvin on Cary Grant, 2 worlds, 1 craft. In later interviews, Lee Marvin spoke candidly but respectfully about fellow actors, including Cary Grant. To Marvin, Grant represented the pinnacle of elegance and control, a man who understood image and presentation at the highest level. Marvin admired Grant's discipline and intelligence, noting how effortlessly he commanded attention. At the same time, he recognized that such refinement required constant maintenance. Marvin, shaped by war and hardship, lived more openly and instinctively. He saw Grant as private, thoughtful, and carefully guarded, someone who rarely let others fully inside his world. Rather than criticism, Marvin's reflections carried empathy. He understood that Grant's transformation from humble beginnings into a symbol of perfection required enormous emotional effort. To Marvin, both approaches were valid. One man embraced polish, the other embraced scars. Each represented a different truth about masculinity, performance, and survival in Hollywood's demanding spotlight. Different paths, equal respect. Lee Marvin never viewed himself in competition with Cary Grant. In his eyes, they belonged to entirely different traditions of cinema. Grant embodied aspiration, grace, and romantic idealism, while Marvin represented grit, realism, and moral ambiguity. Marvin openly acknowledged Grant's rare magnetism, admitting that some stars simply commanded attention without effort. Where Marvin relied on intensity and lived experience, Grant relied on timing and presence. Rather than diminishing either approach, Marvin respected the contrast. He believed audiences needed both kinds of heroes, the polished dream and the weathered truth. His reflections revealed a deep understanding of acting as a craft shaped by personality and history. Marvin recognized that authenticity takes many forms and that restraint can be just as demanding as rawness. In his view, Grant's restraint was not weakness, but discipline, and that recognition came from a man who valued honesty above all else. A final chapter marked by strength. In his final years, Lee Marvin's health declined significantly following a serious illness that affected his lungs and overall strength. Years of physical strain, combined with age, took their toll. Despite increasing frailty, Marvin remained mentally sharp and emotionally steady. Those closest to him noted that his sense of humor and independence endured even as his body weakened. On August 29, 1987, Lee Marvin passed away at the age of 63. His death marked the end of an era defined by unpolished leading men who carried lived experience onto the screen. Marvin left behind more than iconic films. He left a model of authenticity in an industry often built on illusion. His reflections on Cary Grant, like his career, were rooted in respect rather than rivalry. 2 legends, shaped by different paths, both honest in their own way, proving there is no single truth in how greatness is lived or portrayed.